Hey guys, welcome to day 9. We are on this 21-day journey together on prayer and fasting with our church. We have it happening at our church, at Faith Assembly. I do want to let you know these past 9 days, actually, I've been going through these different verses and how it applies to our life, whatever. I want you to know that you have access to that as well. You can go to the website and you will be able to see something like this, and it tells you everything that we're going to be doing or that we're doing collectively as a team for 21 days. And that's kind of where I'm getting it from. So if you don't get it on here, you can also get it over there as well. Last week we talked about sensing God's presence in our lives, and this week we're talking about soliciting His involvement. And today we want to talk about His involvement in our city. And the verse comes from Psalms 46:5. And it says, God is within her. She will not fail. God will help her at break of day. It says her, but it's talking about God's people, the city, God's people, God's community. And today I want to talk specifically to my city, to my community. And I'm not referring to the city of Orlando. I'm not referring to the cities in Massachusetts where I was raised. I want to talk to my community, the community with disabilities. And if you read the whole chapter, as we've always talked about, there's 11 verses in there. In verse 2 and 3, you're going to see how it talks about, it gives you this imagery. It says like, what's the imagery that it shows you? It says, the earth gives way, mountains fall into the heart of the sea, waters roar and foam, mountains quake. I mean, if you read that, that sounds pretty intense as to what's happening. It gives you this imagery of the mountains going into the sea. Like, that's pretty intense, you know? But then you go to verse 10, and in verse 10, it says, he says, be still and know that I am God. So you're going from total chaos to being still. And in the middle of that, you find verse 5, which is the verse that we talk about today. God is with her and she will not fail. She will not fall. God will help her at break of day. So those of us that navigate life with disability, those of us navigating autism, for example, autism it's a world all in itself. And many of us navigating the life of autism has been very difficult. And we can say that our life felt like mountains were going into the ocean. Like, it's that intense. It's that life-changing and altering. And it's also a very dark and lonely place. It's also a place of insecurity. It's a place where you just feel completely overwhelmed and you feel like giving up. Been there, done that. I'm in that journey too. Can't say I've overcome it and conquered it, but I can say that I am in verse 10 where I'm being still and knowing that He is God, that He's there. And I just want to let everybody know, those of us that are struggling, those of us that have those days and those moments, that we can land on verse 5 and know that we will not fail because God is with us. He's going to help us. We see that God is with us. It says it right there. God is with us. And there's an assurance that we're not going to fail. And what's interesting about the word fail, and for me, navigating life through disabilities and through autism, for example, I have noticed that my successes look very different than a typical developing person or a child or an adult. It looks really different. Our successes look very different. And so our failures look really different as well. And with something that somebody might see something so simple and be like, that's not a big deal. For me, it's like, do you know how long it took me to get here? Do you know how much work it took me to get here? And knowing that and being okay that my successes look different than the person next to me's successes, you can rest in that as well. I encourage you to know that your success looks different than everybody else. So that we can be assured that God is in our city. We're asking God to enter our city. So I'm asking God today, and I ask God every day for God to enter into the community of disabilities. To all of us parents that are struggling, I mean, I mentioned autism, but there's a billion things that we're struggling with when it comes to disability, mental health included, spinal bifida, Down syndrome. I mean, whatever it is that you're encountering, to know that though it seems wild, out of control, though it seems like you can't control things, though it seems like you try and you're still in the same spot, and you feel like you're always in that verse 2 and verse 3 where it's just talking about, the mountains are in the oceans, things that seem so impossible. We feel that it's impossible to overcome our situations. We feel that we will never get out of here. Or sometimes we feel guilty. We feel that we could have and should have done things a little different. And we're where we are, or our kids are where we are because of things that we did or we didn't do. Or we owning all these things, and we're processing all these things, and we're stuck in that place. And I want you to know that there is a light, and it's called Jesus, and that he tells us to be still. And the only way that we can be still is by knowing that he is with us. So those of you that are not in this journey, I encourage you, if you see someone, if you know someone, reach out. Bring Jesus to the community. Bring Jesus to the city, to the families around you. When you go to the grocery store, when you go on the airplane, when you're out in public and you see these kids that may be having a tantrum, you may see teenagers with attitudes and things like that. You don't know the journey. You don't know what we're going through. You don't know what it took us just to get out the house. You don't know that. So if you can take a moment to smile, take a moment to pat somebody in the back, take a moment to give a word of encouragement. Bring Jesus to your city. Ask Jesus to come to your city. Ask Jesus to come to your community. Just as I'm asking right now for Jesus to come into the community of disabilities right now. To all of our parents, we have good days and we have bad days. And unfortunately, oftentimes we have more bad days than we have good days. But we have a community, we have a village, we have a people that we can count on. So God is with her and she will not fail. God will help her at daybreak. So be at peace that God is with us, even through disabilities, even through autism, even through those dark and lonely moments. God is with us. And sometimes God is with us, how? Through the people around us. So again, be some point of contact. Be that person. If you're not struggling with that, if you don't have any experience, be that person of help, support. Bring Jesus to your community. Bring Jesus to the community of disabilities. We need you. Amen. Have an amazing day. Think about it all day. Keep your eyes open. And I hope that you encounter people in your life that you don't even know, strangers at the store, and that you can identify them and show them a smile, show them love, give them support, some way, small, but it's big. It's big for those of us that are struggling. It's big. That small little gesture, it's a big gesture. So don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Talk to you tomorrow.